Hello, welcome back to Meta Perfume. I am Emily, here again today with Trixie. Is he sleeping? So I am going to continue with my Britney Spears fantasy series. I'm going to do all of my Britney Spears fragrances, but I have most of the fantasy line. So I'm starting with the fantasy line. I covered the original fantasy first, and I did Island Fantasy, and now I'm going to review Fantasy Intimate Edition. Sometimes I mistakenly call this Intimate Fantasy, and then I search for that, and Fantasy Intimate Edition comes up, but it's not Intimate Fantasy, it's Fantasy Intimate Edition. And now this is important on a level because while it does not, I think it does not really resemble the original fantasy much at all. No, there's musk in both, okay? But so different on so many other levels that it's its own thing. But because they've named it Fantasy Intimate Edition, on websites like Fragrance X and Fragrance Net, which is where I get a lot of my fragrances on discount, they have it actually as a subcomponent of the main fantasy. So you'll go and look at the listing for the fantasy fragrance, and it's like one of the options. I'll put it up here, which is weird because it's a totally different smelling fragrance. But I guess maybe because of the name, the way they named it Fantasy Intimate Edition, they decided that would be okay. I don't know. Buyer beware, you're not getting the original fantasy and just shifted a little. You're getting a very, very different fragrance. On the good side, this is a really, really nice smelling fragrance. Like, if it weren't for one unfortunate reality, which is in the notes, I'll put the notes up here, I would be able to recommend this wholeheartedly. Well, actually there's two drawbacks to this that kind of offset the deliciousness of the scent itself. So the notes are, on the top, lychee, Italian lemon, and violet leaf. In the middle, which I think it's most prominent in the middle notes are the most prominent notes, and they're brown sugar, ozonic notes, gennet, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. That is my problem with this fragrance. Number one, jasmine and lily of the valley in the middle. And then in the base, vanilla, white musk, heliotrope, and benzoin. So complex. Unfortunately, probably not vegan because of this gennet note. I will not be repurchasing this. I don't think animals should be exploited for human purposes. Obviously, I'm vegan if you've been watching this channel. I'm not just vegan in terms of my diet and eating plants. I am vegan in terms of not believing in the exploitation of other animals for human wants, basically. So this may be doing that. Usually, I think when they have a synthetic component that mimics an animalic note that maybe was historically derived from animals and now they have recreated a chemical version of it, usually they put like a chemical in place of the animal picture. But I'm guessing because they have this picture that there may be some animal exploitation involved in producing this, which is so sad and tragic. It's a nice smelling fragrance, but boo. Anyway, enough of that sadness. The actual experience of this fragrance is quite lovely. It is, unfortunately though, drawback number two, it is incredibly short-lived. So it smells good. It smells really, really good for about 2 hours and then it's gone. Now, on a level, you could say like, well, it is the intimate fantasy, and I think usually with intimate versions of fragrances or fragrances that are supposed to be, that means that you can get closer, it's maybe less projecting, less in your face, like good for an intimate encounter. And so in a way, it doesn't necessarily need to be strong. It doesn't need to last long. If that is the intention of the fragrance, then having it be gone in about 2 hours, and maybe if you're getting intimate and working up a sweat, less than that. I don't know, but It does smell really good. And I'd say the prominent note in this is brown sugar. And it's definitely like a distinctive brown sugar and vanilla, really. Brown sugar comes through the most for me as the most distinctive note in this. The top is pretty minimal. Lychee, Italian lemon, and violet leaf. Like, it's adding a little complexity, a little interest, but it does not, I would not pick out or be able to pick out either lemon or lychee from this. So it's making it interesting, but not making it scream lychee or lemon or any of those top notes, really. I love Lily of the Valley. It's one of my favorite scents. I think it's pretty uncommon. I'm not sure if I smell it in this, but I know I love that note, and then it's listed as a note in here. I'm not sure if how much it contributes, but in theory I like it. And then in the base, the vanilla, white musk, heliotrope, and benzoin is really nice. Like, I love a benzoin note, especially kind of a subtle one that gives this like slight addictive quality to the fragrance. Oh, I'm so torn though. I don't want to like promote this fragrance because of animal exploitation, and no. So anyway, bittersweet again, like my last review, which was of Island Fantasy, which is sad because I really enjoy that fragrance, but it's discontinued. This, I enjoy the scent of this fragrance, but I don't enjoy the A, lack of longevity, B, note in it apparently. So yeah, you can still purchase this fragrance. Obviously, like I said, in the fantasy, if you look for fantasy, it's one of the subcomponents, as if it were a different size of the original fantasy, but it is totally different. It is not at all like the original fantasy, which is much sweeter, I think more youthful. Doesn't have a brown sugar note. It's got cupcake and white chocolate notes. This one is like real brown sugar, vanilla, musky, hint of benzoin, and an interesting kind of not detectable top. And it stays for only about 2 hours on the skin, or maybe 2.5 hours, 2-3 maybe. Put a lot on your clothes. So that's it. Fantasy Intimate Edition. Please subscribe if you haven't. That would be fantastic. And if you like this video, please give it a like. And we will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.